Morning, ma'am.
Yes, children, we were doing the chapter in the started. Yes, beta. Reproduction in organisms, right? I had done till here. Let me take it very quickly. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Very quickly, let's start again what we were doing. Again, for you, focus on the main words that I told you. I have already done till this slide. I'll be moving on to sexual reproduction. Now, in sexual reproduction, again, this is very important from one word answers. Some of them are very unusual flaring. Just now in the previous section, in the previous class, I told you whenever we say flaring, it means the starting of which phase?
Reproductive phase.
Very good. And the end of which phase? So, in some plants, the flowering is very unusual, very exceptional. For example, bamboo. This flowers only once in their lifetime. That is about after 50 to 100 years of its life. And once it flowers, it produces a large number of fruits. And then after flowering, it dies. This is an exception, bamboo. No senescent phase is there. As soon as it flowers, it produces large number of fruits, and after that, the plant dies. Then this Strobilanthus kunthiana flower. This also flowers only once in how many years?
12 years.
So these are the two exceptions we need to remember. First is bamboo, which flowers only after 50 to 100 years, and it produces large number of fruits, and after that it
Dies.
then we have flowers which the plants which give flowers after 12 years. After every 12 years, if you can see this, these Strobilanthus kunthiana. What is the name?
Strobilanthus kunthiana.
These purplish blue flowers, you will find them only 12 years. They will bloom only in 12 years. In animals, we're talking about animals beta, the juvenile phase is followed by morphological and physiological changes prior to active reproductive behavior. We said the juvenile phase is followed by the reproductive phase. So after the juvenile phase and before the reproductive phase, there are certain morphological and physiological, certain internal and external changes in the body and behavior of organisms. For example, the birds who live in nature, they lay eggs only seasonally. Those birds who are free, living in the forest or trees, they will lay eggs only in a particular season. However, the birds in captivity, that is poultry, can be made to lay eggs throughout the year. So these are the changes which take place prior to the reproductive behavior. So these are exceptions, beta. Birds which live in nature, they will lay eggs only in the season.
Seasonally.
Yes. But birds who are in captivity, they can lay eggs throughout the year. Let's talk about this. The females of placental mammals exhibit cyclical changes in the ovaries, accessory ducts, and hormones during the reproductive phase. So when juvenile phase is over and reproductive phase starts, we're talking about females, those females which have a placenta, placental mammals. There are certain changes in three things, beta. Number one is ovaries, number one is accessory ducts, and number three is hormones. A lot of changes come in the reproductive phase in ovaries, accessory ducts, and hormones. These cyclic changes in non-primates, that is in cows and sheep and rats and all, we call them as oestrus cycle. What is the cycle called as? Oestrus cycle. And if we talk about the primates, for example, monkeys and humans, then the cycle is known as, what is it called?
Menstrual cycle.
Menstrual cycle.
Menstrual cycle.
So if you see, both of them are same. Oestrus cycle and menstrual cycle are same only. This is certain changes internal and externally in the body before the reproductive structures, reproductive phase comes in. But the only difference is that in which organisms they are taking place. Okay, whether they are primates or they are non-primates. Primates like humans, monkeys, we are all examples of primates. Okay, and non-primates, we've given you certain examples. What is the example?
Cow, sheep, rat, deer. Deer.
Many differences. There are many differences between primates and non-primates, but the most important difference is that we people, that is primates, have a very advanced brain. Okay, large advanced brain, but non-primates, they have a very small brain. And one more important difference is that primates have a very good eyesight. Non-primates do not have that good eyesight. So you can always remember primates are human beings. Very good brain, very good eyesight. So primates will have menstrual cycle, and in non-primates you have which cycle?
Oestrus cycle.
Oestrus. Yes, basically both the cycles are nothing. There are certain changes which occur in ovaries, ducts, and hormones during reproductive phases. In different animals, we name them differently. In primates, we call it as which cycle?
Menstrual cycle.
Yes. And in non-primates, you're going to call it as?
Oestrus cycle.
Good. Based on the breeding season, mammals are of two types: seasonal breeders and continuous breeders. Again, the same thing. Those mammals which live in natural conditions, I just now told you now, those who live in natural conditions, only in certain season they will breed. Okay. But continuous breeders, they're reproductively active throughout their reproductive phase. I mean, whatever age they are, supposing it is 14 to 40, then the entire phase, they will be reproductively active. They can produce offspring. Such kind of breeders are known as continuous breeders.
breeders.
And those which can breed only in a particular season, what are those breeders called?
Seasonal breeders.
Seasonal breeders. Seasonal breeders. So we have two kinds based on the season: seasonal and continuous. So we have two types: seasonal breeders and continuous. Let me know which one you have not understood. We talked about a juvenile phase, that is pre-reproductive, then reproductive, and then old age or post-reproductive is called senescent phase. This is the last phase. If you see over here, this phase is the last phase. During this, lot of changes occur in the body. The most important change is slowing of metabolism. All the metabolic processes just slow down, and this ultimately leads to death. So what is the last phase of lifespan of an organism?
Senescent phase.
The first one was juvenile, then second was,
Reproductive.
and the third is?
Senescence.
Okay. If you can see this, which one is this stage? You will put it in what category?
Growth.
I mean, out of these three phases, which one?
Juvenile.
Juvenile. So first we'll have juvenile, then we'll have reproductive, and the final we'll have is senescence. And after senescence, it is death. Okay. Before I move on further, very quickly, whatever I've done, I want to have a quick revision. We started with sexual reproduction, and we had started from here. Beginning of the reproductive phase. Here, two plants I talked about unusual flowering. One was
Bamboo.
bamboo. It flowers only once in how many years?
50 to 100 years.
And the second was Probulentus.
Ponthiana.
Flowers in how many years?
12 years.
Come to the next one now. See, in animals, there are certain changes which take place before the reproductive phase. Okay. We have mainly changes in which three parts? Changes in ovaries and yes. But these changes are given different names according to the category of organisms. Okay, in primates and non-primates, we have a different name. So these changes in primates, what do you call them as?
Menstrual cycle.
Very good. And in non-primates, the same process is called
Oestrus cycle.
Yes, beta. What is the same process called in non-primates?
Oestrus cycle.
Yes, it is oestrus cycle. Man, you will put in what category?
Primates.
Primate. Very good. So I told you the difference. Those which have a larger brain and excellent eyesight, they're primates or non-primates?
Primates.
Very good. So primates will have an oestrus cycle or a menstrual cycle?
Menstrual cycle.
Good. Basically, there is no difference here. Oestrus and menstrual cycle. It is just that there are some changes taking place in the ovary, the duct. Okay, beta. So these are the main things. Let me admit Akash. I think he was disconnected. Let me go further. I talked about this. On the basis of season, we again have two types of breeders. Seasonal breeders and
Continuous breeders.
yes, those who breed naturally in natural environment only in specific seasons. What are these breeders called?
Seasonal breeders.
Seasons. And those which can breed or reproduce through the entire reproductive phase. Okay, like if I say 14 to 45 in human being, reproductive phase. So entire span they can breed. What are these breeders called?
Continuous breeders.
Very good. They're known as continuous breeders. Got the difference here? Seasonal and continuous breeders. Let me move
Yes, ma'am.
further.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a revision we are doing, don't worry. Here, we talked about senescence. This is which phase of life? First, second, or last?
Last.
Yes. Senescence is followed by
Death.
and in senescence phase, the most important thing that happens is slowing down of
Metabolism. Metabolism.
good. So here, in plants and animals, hormones cause the changes. Whether it is plants or it is animals, we just said that juvenile phase is followed by reproductive phase and reproductive by senescent phase. So these changes in phases are caused, whether it is plants or animals, it is caused because of whom?
Hormones.
Hormones. So basically there is an interaction with them. It's a mixed effort of hormones and the environmental factors. They only control all the reproductive processes. So if you see in short, all the reproductive processes are controlled by hormone, by a combination or interaction of hormones and
Environmental conditions.
environmental conditions. So in plants and animals, who is going to control the change of phases?
Hormones.
Yes, beta, it is going to be hormones. And it is going to be an interaction between hormones and
Environmental conditions.
Environmental conditions.
very good. Just giving you a minute to share on the screen. Please see the stages in sexual reproduction. I'm going to discuss it with you very quickly. We are doing sexual reproduction now. We did about asexual reproduction in the previous period. Just see on the screen. Let me explain it to you better. See? Should we start the discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Let's. We are talking about the stages in sexual reproduction. Like we talked about post-reproductive, pre-reproductive, post-reproductive, and post-reproductive. Similarly, pre-fertilization, fertilization, post-fertilization. Okay. Is my voice okay or is it coming very light?
Ma'am, okay.
Okay, fine. So pre-fertilization, we are going to have two stages, gametogenesis and gamete transfer. I'll explain these stages to you. I'll be taking up a revision again. I'm talking about pre-fertilization events. There are two main pre-fertilization events, children. First is gametogenesis. When we say fertilization, we mean fusion of gametes. So before the gametes fuse, two things happen, two main things happen. And always remember them in sequence, क्योंकि ये पहले होता है, ये बाद में होता है. So don't mix up with the sequences. First is gametogenesis. Genesis means birth and gameto, birth of gametes, मतलब gamete formation. And जब gamete formation हो जाएगा, then the gametes will be transferred. That is gamete transfer. Let me first explain the first one to you. Gametogenesis. Break this word. Genesis means formation or birth, and this word is gamete. So formation of the gametes, both male and female gametes, is what we call as, what is it called?
Gametogenesis.
Genesis. Remember, these gametes are haploid cells. They are not diploid. Gametes are of two types. Look here. If you see over here, both the gametes, they're very similar to each other. Bilkul same to same hai. Such kind of gametes are known as homogametes or isogametes. What are they called?
Homogametes or isogametes.
Very good. If both the gametes are very similar to each other, we are going to call them as homogametes or isogametes. Either dekhiye beta. See. Okay. There is difference. If you see this B1 over here and you see the C1 over here. In this B, C over here, these are humans. Heterogametes. So if the gametes are similar, you're going to call them as isogametes or homogametes. And if the gametes are different, what are they called? What is gametogenesis?
Formation of gametes.
Formation of male and female gametes.
Yes. So if I take it the other way around and I say, okay, give me one word. Formation of male and female gametes is called?
Gametogenesis.
Gametogenesis.
Two similar gametes, identical gametes, what are they called?
Gametogenesis. Homo or isogametes.
And if they're dissimilar, what are they called?
Heterogametes.
I told you we can divide the entire sexual reproduction into three stages. Fertilization, second was
Fertilization.
fertilization, and the third was
Fertilization.
third.
Post-fertilization.
Fertilization.
Okay, beta. We are talking about okay, children. So we are talking about pre-fertilization events. What was the first step in pre-fertilization event?
Gametogenesis.
अच्छा बहुत ध्यान से gametogenesis will take place first or gamete transfer will take place first?
Gametogenesis first.
Yes. So when I say gametogenesis, it actually means formation of
Gametes.
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 Very good. So after gametogenesis, we will have gamete transfer now. I hope this is clear. Sometimes I've seen when we check board copies and the question comes, describe pre-fertilization events. This is where the children go wrong, beta. Okay, be very careful about this. Which step will come first, gametogenesis or gamete transfer?
Gametogenesis.
Gametogenesis.
And what is gametogenesis? Can you tell me quickly?
Formation of
Formation of-
gametes.
Which gamete? Male gamete or female gamete?
Both.
Both.
Very nice. So we are having gametogenesis. Gametes are being formed male and if both male and female gametes are similar, identical, then these kind of gametes will be known as?
Homogametes or isogametes.
Very good. And if they are dissimilar, the male and the female gametes don't look alike, then what am I going to call them as?
Heterogamy gametes.
Very good. They're called as heterogametes. Very good. Okay. What about humans? Which category will you put them in? They have homogametes or they have isogametes?
Heterogametes.
Heterogametes.
Very good. Why? Just explain. Justify your answer. Why do you say that they are heterogametes?
Because they are not similar in size.
Which is a male gamete in humans? Name it.
XY.
No, I'm talking about gametes. Which is the male gamete?
Sperm.
Sperm.
Yes. XY are chromosomes. And which is the female gamete?
Ovum.
Ovum.
Okay. Structurally, if you see, are they similar?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Sperm is an elongated structure which has a head and a tail. And what is the approximate rough shape of an ovum?
Circular.
Circle.
Circular.
Yes, whether it is spherical or it is a circle. Very good. So would you put, ma'am, this human beings in what category? This is what I was asking you very quickly. Homogametes or heterogametes?
Heterogametes.
Very good. Till here, everybody is okay? Hmm?
Yes, ma'am.
We are talking
Yes,
about which stage of sexual reproduction? Pre-fertilization, fertilization, or post-fertilization?
Pre-fertilization. Pre-fertilization.
In pre-fertilization, we had two stages. Which was the first one?
Gametogenesis.
Gametogenesis. So that means it is the formation of which gametes? Male and
Female.
very good. Female, male and female. Let's go into a little more detail about gametogenesis. Something I've shared on the screen with you. I'll share it. Isogametes, heterogametes, we've already done. Now see this. Bisexuality in organisms. We're going to talk about those organisms where the gametes are not same, male and are different from the female. Just see the screen. Let me explain it to you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Peter.
Ma'am, I had some doubts in previous chapter. So when to ask?
Which chapter?
Ma'am, that molecular basis of inheritance.
That is also a part of this chapter. Let me finish this. We'll take up that chapter. Actually, these two chapters are important. When I did these two chapters, I kept on telling everybody. Molecular basis of inheritance and heredity and variation. Now, these two chapters are important. Never mind. I'll take up that chapter again. No issues. UTs, so nobody came. Those 15 days I know. Nobody came except for 3-4 children. There are 3-4 children who are always regular for classes. But anyways, it's okay. Thank God you told me. I'm there to help you, children. Don't worry. I'll always help you. Chalo, let's talk about bisexual. Male and female reproductive structures are present in the same individual. What are these organisms called as?
Bisexual organisms.
So, beta, just tell me one thing. Are humans bisexual?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
Only one child says, others feel yes or no? Or nothing? No opinion. No doubt.
No, ma'am.
No. Why I'm taking it again and again is I have seen many students doing this mistake. When they say this word bisexual, they mean having two sexes. Male and female are separate in humans. So they say, yes, they are bisexual. No, beta. Bisexual means having both the male and female reproductive structures in the same individual. Let me give you an example of plants, hibiscus and python. Whenever we do dissection of flowers, whenever we study the structure of a flower, we generally select this flower, hibiscus. Yes or no? What is it called
Yes,
in Hindi?
ma'am.
What is it called in Hindi, hibiscus?
Good health.
Very good. Can anybody tell me हम इसी पे क्यों करते हैं? Why do we always study this flower only?
We can easily see the
Very good, beta. It is bisexual. You can see both the male and female parts in this. So in flowering plants, the male flower is staminate. It has only one male part, only the stamen. So we are going to call it as staminate.
Staminate.
And in females, I mean, we're talking about flowering plants. They're not bisexual. In flowering plants, either they have a male part, that is stamen, they'll be called as staminate, or they have a female part, that is pistil, so they will be known as pistillate. What are they called?
Pistillate.
Yes. In male and female flowers are present on the same plant. It is called monoecious. Now we have two kinds of flowers. This flower is male flower or female flower? Staminate. Tell me.
Male flower.
Very good. And pistillate is which flower?
Female flower.
Female flower. Now there are some plants which have only male flowers or only female flowers. So male and female flowers are present on the same plant. See, we are talking about, see beta, we are talking about a case where male and female are present on the same plant. Then such kind of a plant is called as? What is it?
Monoecious.
Yes, it is monoecious plant. And in animals, if both the characters or organs are present, male and female, then thus such animals are known as bisexual animals, or commonly what are they called?
Hermaphrodites.
Hermaphrodite.
Okay, beta. So let me talk about a bisexual animal. When I say bisexual animal, I mean both the male and female structures are present. This is the best example, earthworm. Okay, can you see? This is the earthworm. We have an ovary also, we have testes here. So both ovary and testes are present in the same earthworm. So you agree that earthworm is a bisexual animal?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Cockroaches. Male has its own male reproductive organ, female has its own. So cockroach is which kind of an animal?
Unisexual.
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 Okay, let us go to this now. See, this is the female sex organ. This is the male sex organ. Basically, you have a male flower also. You have a female flower also. So this plant will be known as which plant?
Monoecious plant.
Very good. And we have certain, this is dioecious plants. See, these are dioecious plants. Let me show this to you also. One will have the female thallus, the other has male thallus. So it will only have female flowers, or it will have only the male part. Such flowers or such plants are known as dioecious plants. What are they called?
Dioecious plants.
Yes. And we have bisexual flowers also. Look here. Okay. Bisexual flowers, both stamen is present, pistil is present, carpel is present, both the sexes are present. What are those animals called which have both the sex organs?
Hermaphrodite.
Yes. So now tell me very quickly, everybody knows what is a bisexual plant?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
You know what is a staminate flower?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you know what is a pistillate flower?
Yes, ma'am.
Anshika, not able to understand? Should I tell you once again?
No, ma'am, I'm understanding everything.
You all know what are monoecious flowers? This plant is monoecious now. See, both male and female flowers are present on the same plant. And what about this plant? This is one plant having a male female thallus. This is another plant having a male thallus. So this is monoecious or dioecious?
Dioecious.
Dioecious.
What about earthworm? Bisexual.
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 All the earthworms, leeches, sponges, tapeworms, mainly the worms category. Earthworms, leeches, tapeworms, they're all bisexual animals, beta. See, in their body, you will find both the male and female reproductive organs. So we were talking about pre-fertilization events. Bisexuality in organisms. What do we mean by unisexual organisms? Male and female reproductive structures are present on different individuals. Okay, different individuals. But if male and female flowers are present on different plants, what are we going to call them as?
Dioecious plants.
Dioecious
Dioecious.
plants.
So these ones are what? Monoecious or dioecious? Describe.
Dioecious.
Dioecious.
Papaya is a very good example of dioecious plant. Okay. If papaya plant is there, it will have either only male flowers or it will have only female flowers. Different plants are there, flowers are there. So papaya is the best example. Okay, beta. Then we talked about unisexual animals also. Cockroaches and all higher animals, they may either have male or they will have female. So they are not bisexual, they are unisexual. The fungus category, they are homothallic or heterothallic. If they are bisexual, we call them as homothallic. But if they're unisexual, that means they are present on different ones, then we are going to call it as heterothallic. This is a little different word because the sexual organ looks like a thallus. So we give them another name. When we say a fungus is bisexual, that means which term are we going to use?
Homothallic.
Homothallic.
And if we use that they are unisexual, then?
Homothallic. Heterothallic.
Heterothallic.
Okay. Now tell me quickly. I'm talking about earthworm. Earthworm is?
Bisexual.
Very good. This is the male cockroach because it has testes. This is a female cockroach because it has an ovary. So cockroach is?
Unisexual.
Unisexual.
This is a plant. It has both male and female flowers. What should I call this plant?
Monoecious.
Very good. This is another plant. One plant has a female thallus. The other one has a male thallus. What should I call these plants? Monoecious or dioecious?
Dioecious.
Good. Papaya is?
Dioecious.
Yes. Remember papaya and date palms, they're dioecious. See this? Cell division during gamete formation. I'm talking about the lower organisms, Monera, fungi, algae, bryophytes. The parent body is haploid beta. The parent body is always?
Haploid.
So if the parent is haploid, the gametes will also be haploid. Remember this. I'm talking about simple organisms like Monera. When I say Monera, what do I mean? Which organisms?
Simple organisms.
I mean bacteria, beta. In common language, whenever we say Monera, we mean bacteria. What do we mean by Monera?
Bacteria.
Yes. So basically, I'm talking about lower organisms like bacteria, fungus, algae, bryophytes. The parents have which kind of a body? Haploid or diploid?
Haploid.
So the gametes will also be
Haploid.
haploid. And the process of division is going to be mitosis. The process of division will be?
Mitosis.
So for your memory, you need to remember bryophytes. In bryophytes, the parents are haploid, the gametes are haploids, and the division process is mitosis. This was about bryophytes. Let's move on to pteridophytes. In pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms, animals, the parent body is diploid. Let's talk about humans. We do not have 23 chromosomes. It is 2n, 46. How many?
46.
So the parental body is haploid or diploid?
Diploid.
Good. See the difference. Be very careful, see the difference. Here the parents were also haploid, the gametes are also haploid in bryophytes. But in pteridophytes and animals, the parents are diploid, but the gametes are
Haploid.
yes, the gametes are haploid. The cell division here was mitosis, the division here is meiosis. Let me have the difference again. Okay, between bryophytes, on one side we have all bryophytes, all simple organisms like bacteria, fungus, algae. On the other side, we have advanced organisms like pteridophytes, angiosperms, animals. So what is the first difference between both of them, beta? In bryophytes, the parents were?
Haploid.
And what about the gametes?
Haploid.
Haploid. And the division was?
Mitosis.
Very good. We are focusing on one-word answers according to MCQ patterns. Tell me now, which category of organisms have parents also haploid and offsprings also haploid?
Bryophytes.
Bryophytes.
Bryophytes. Which kind of division will we find in bryophytes?
Mitosis.
Mitosis.
Very good. In pteridophytes, the parents are diploid, but the gametes are?
Haploid.
Haploid.
Very good. Which is the cell division observed?
Meiosis.
Very good. It is meiosis. See over here. Meiosis of meiocyte. Meiocyte means gamete mother cell. What are meiocytes, beta?
Gamete mother cell.
So sometimes a one marker question may come from here also. Meiocytes are diploid, remember, but the gametes produced are always haploid.
Haploid.
So if a human being, if the question comes, if I say, okay, meiocyte of a dog, we have 78 chromosomes. Then how many chromosomes will be present in the gamete of a dog?
39.
Good. Let me take this simple one. The meiocyte of a fruit fly contains 8 chromosomes. How many chromosomes will be present in the gamete of a fruit fly?
4.
4.
Or it can be asked the other way around. Okay, let me ask you like this. The gamete of an onion contains 8 chromosomes. How many chromosomes are present in meiocytes? 60. So just remember this. Meiocyte, whenever you prepare your notes for your self-learning, meiocyte is 2n and gamete is?
N.
Okay, one more. Tell me this one. Rats have 21 chromosomes in their gametes. How many chromosomes are present in the meiocytes?
42.
42. So basically, you'll be able to understand. We talked about here that the parents are diploid in all these organisms. The parents are diploid, but the gametes are what, beta? Haploid. And the cell division is?
Meiosis.
If I assume that I write bacteria over here, supposing in place of rat, I'll write bacteria. Okay, beta. And I write over here the mother's, I'm talking about the parent. The parent has 78 chromosomes. Any bryophyte. Then the gamete will have?
78.
Oh, no. I'm talking about bryophytes.
78.
Yes. You have to be very good. If I write fungus over here, let me write algae over here. In place of cat, let me write algae. And I say parent of an algae contains 38 chromosomes. Tell me, how many chromosomes will be there in the gamete of algae?
38.
38. I hope this concept is clear. You may have a 1 mark question from here. You have to just take care that in Monera, that is bacteria, fungus and alga, the number will remain the same, whether it is meiocytes or it is gametes. However, in all these advanced plants and animals, the parent is diploid, but the gamete is?
Haploid.
Okay, beta. So in lower organisms, that is, I'm talking about bryophytes, the parent is also haploid and the gamete is also?
Haploid.
And the cell division processes?
Mitosis.
Let me talk about higher advanced organisms. Fine. The parent is?
Diploid.
Diploid. And the gamete is?
Haploid.
Very good. And the cell division is?
Meiosis.
The cell division is meiosis. So always remember what is the form